All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out on a nice cold evening. And for those of you who are online, we hope you're warm and toasty in your homes. We are starting the regular Board of Selectmen meeting on December 15th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. In attendance, we have Selectman Jim Lampos, we have Selectman John Measham, and we have First Selectwoman Martha Shoemaker. We have 3 people in the audience, and we have our clerk. Information items, communications, and correspondences. The only thing that basically has been for informational purposes is a lot of people that have been through town hall with questions about the referendum tomorrow, and basically to provide them with the information packets and try to answer any questions to the best of our ability and tell them constantly we are not a lawyer. So anyway, that's where we are on that. Does anyone else have any information item? Oh, and we did receive word today that Walgreens will be closing its doors officially on January 27th, which is 3 months sooner than what I was told 2 months ago. So something must have happened that made them realize that they had to leave earlier than whatever. Anything, John?
No. I received everything that you received, with the exception of Roger Zito from Old Lyme Shores, who brought back to my attention the archaeological finds that they had had at Old Lyme Shores, and to be aware of it as we proceed, if we proceed through this project, this sewer project.
Okay. I was told a week or two ago that they did find out that when they did the archaeology study for the bridge project for the state, that they did find some artifacts.
I have that report. They found substantial artifacts, Native American and colonial, substantial at that site. So,
and then where did they send all those artifacts? Where did they end up?
I don't know. Typically it's Yukon, but that's where it has been. But I don't know exactly where they went.
Okay. All right. Is there any public comment besides those people who are presenting? Anyone online? Anyone in the audience?
Martha, I got a letter from Walgreens this afternoon.
Yes, we all did.
All prescribers of Walgreens and Old Lyme are being referred to Flanders automatically.
Okay.
That's all the files are going there.
All right. Is there anyone online who has public comment? Paula, would you like to say something?
Yes, I would, Martha. I'm still concerned about the voting at the referendum, because my friends in Florida immediately had sent their forms in to receive absentee ballots, and they paid $12 to expedite the mailing. So they just received this morning their ballots. So they were very concerned. They went to the post office in Florida, paid $78 to expedite the mailing of their 2 votes. Hopefully they'll get there tomorrow. They're supposed to get there by 3 o'clock tomorrow in order to participate in the voting. So I hope, the town clerk checks the mail and they arrive and their vote is cast. But
okay, thank you.
It's been a concerning situation, as you know.
Yes, I do.
Want to do their civic duty in voting, and it's just been very difficult. They were here for 5 months, and there wasn't any voting at that time, as you know. It had to be postponed until now, but this is still not the best time for people who are away from Old Lyme. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else online that would like to share any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, I will say that any voter, whether landowner or registered voter always has the opportunity, the absentee ballot form is online. You can also always, if you're traveling, take one with you because they are readily available in the town clerk's office to pick up the application so that you always have it with you should you be away. If something happens in town, whether it's Italy, Florida, Denver, whatever, but you do have it. And the US Postal Service, we cannot do much with. That's one thing that's out of our control. That's the Board of Selectmen. We cannot hurry them along.
It's always a concern, but this season is already, we're already into the heavy rush season. So, with the holidays and greeting cards and people ordering things, I'm sure that that's part of, filling up the system.
But expedite should be, or priority mail
Yes,
should be moving
absolutely.
at priority mail speeds. Okay, so next up is the approval of minutes. We have special Board of Selectmen minutes, which Jim, you were invited to it, or John, you
I'm
were
John.
invited to, sorry, these J's, J and J, we need to, J1, J2. All right, so this special Board of Selectmen meeting on November 17th, you were invited to attend
Yes.
to give you an update, but you can't vote on the minutes. Jim, have you had a chance to look
I
at
did.
those? Okay, so it's pretty basic. It was a special meeting for legal session. So can you
I'll make-
provide me with them?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting, the minutes of the special meeting, November 17th.
I will second. I think there's no further discussion.
No
All right,
discussion.
hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And no
Oh,
opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to our Board of Selectmen minutes, which Jen did so nicely to get those to us this morning. They are now posted. And I hope that you both have had a chance to read them. Do you have any comments or concerns,
I have none.
None.
Jim? Okay. I'll call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minute meetings for December 8th, 2025.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, no further discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you both. All right, next up is our presentation from our Conservation Commission. That's you. And Brandy and Gary. You can all welcome to come to the table and chat with us,
You got,
because then you'll hear that we'll be able to pick you up on these mics.
you got Matt's email.
I did.
I caution you that I have a hearing discrimination issue, so even though I'm this close, I can hear you talking, but if you don't speak up or you got a high pitched voice, I would only hear about 50% of it. So if I look at you kind of strange, like, what did you say? That's the reason.
Okay,
That's the only unrepairable thing on my body.
got it. So George came to see me a few weeks ago and said he had done a great deal of homework and had looked at the Conservation Committee's mission statement, compared it to some other updates within the state, and said we needed to make some changes. So George has done so. And this is the draft.
That's correct.
So what would you like us to, do you want to mention any of the things that you specifically called out?
There is not a major drastic change from what was written oh so long ago. It was a bit casual, a bit unspecific, and not all encompassing. Plus, it did not reflect everything that we've been doing. I'd like to point out that the Connecticut State Statute for conservation was written for municipalities in the state of Connecticut that may not have open space, wetlands, or land trust, all three of which we have. Ergo, on attachment 2 to the document that I submitted to the Board of Selectmen, you will see the exemptions and the justification for it. And that's basically all I have to say. It will read a little more formal than most others, but since it's an occupation I used to do this for a living, I like to have things a little tighter and a little more specific, and I think that this mission statement reads rather well, and it's 100% accurate in terms of what we're doing. So we're asking that you review it, run it through your legal, if you have to, accept it as written. Please and thank you.
Okay.
I have a copy of the original state statute for comparison and the original mission statement that we started with. And
Much shorter.
much shorter. So there is, while the original is shorter, it's written to match the state statutes and says very similar items with just a select few bullet points that don't change our relationship with any commission, but just explains in further detail our the things we can endeavor to inquire about or look into or help with.
In fact, you will find that it is a lot more specific towards other conservation related commissions, which was not specific in the one that exists at the present time. I got an email from one of the commissions who was concerned that we hadn't been specifically documenting them as part of the work that we do. And I reassured them that as far as wetlands goes, as far as the planning commission goes, as far as land trust and open space, it is specifically mentioned in here such that you can see that we are a coordinating commission as well as an educational one.
Mm-hmm. So my thought process takes me to the fact that I know that one commission weighed in, but I would like the others to weigh in as well. I know that you touched base with some people, right? But I would just like their not a consensus so much, but to have them read it and acknowledge that they have read it. So I believe you still would need some type of communication from inland to wetlands and planning. Those are the two that I know of that I haven't seen any back and forth. I know you've had some communication with open space, but I'm not saying that they get a say in changing any of this, but I would like them to be aware that this is happening. And if that would be the case, if we could get this out to them, then we could possibly approve it in January. But I would just like to make them aware. I don't want anyone to think we did this without their knowledge.
It was obvious from the one organization that they were concerned that we were keeping this a secret. And if you go back through our minutes of our regular meetings, you will see that the progress that was done was documented every month from April, May.
I actually believe that he said he noted it in your minutes, that he knew that
Yeah,
it was
he was
aware.
concerned that he didn't know what the specifics were.
Right.
Do
Now
other commissions, when they change their mission statements, do they all bring it to the table for all the commissions to review?
Well, that's a good question, because you're the first ones that have come to us in the 2 years that
It's a good idea, I think.
I think it is a good idea. I do know that it's interesting because there are some boards and commissions that have a mission statement that's actually in our ordinance. There are others that do not. I do not think you have a mission statement within the ordinance. So that's another thing that I would like to, last year we did 4 ordinances. We brought them up to date because they were not up to date. I appreciate the fact that you went to look at your mission statement and compared it to the new CGS.
That was one of your
It was.
urgent requests on March 28th at your all commissions meeting.
And George took it to heart.
I have looked at some of the other conservation related mission statements. Privately, I will say that there's a couple of them that need the same type of update and doing the same requirements, traceability that we did. Because there's some shortcomings in there and some things that this is going to bring out, and especially attachment 2,
Yes.
which is the exceptions in the state statute.
Do you need email documentation or a signed letter from them saying that they've reviewed it and approved it?
I think it would just be nice if, I'm assuming we're gonna let George be the communicator here. But if you would just send it and CC me on that, we would just like you to know that we've done this.
I will take the same document that I presented to you.
Yep.
And I will send it to wetlands, planning, open space and land trust.
Okay.
Will that
And
do
just
it?
say, we want to just make you aware, and should you have any questions, please respond all. If they have questions, we're not asking them to edit, revise, but if they have any questions for you, I think it's the polite thing to do that we respond to them.
I agree.
Okay,
I can do that for you.
I appreciate it very much so. So we are good. So
I'm
we'll
good.
we'll put you on the agenda for January, a January meeting. Okay,
Okay.
and I'll let you know which one.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
Along the lines we're talking about, the wetlands statutes are changing the 1st of January.
So I know that we'll have a new chair for planning. I'm not sure who that will be yet. But you could send it, George, you could probably send it to all the committee members if you want. And Katie can certainly help you with addresses if
I
you
will
need
send
them.
it, if it's okay with you, I'll send it to their email addresses that are on the website.
Yeah, I don't think that they have personal email addresses on the website.
But like in the case of wetlands, I've got Mike's email address, so I can send it to the wetlands website as well.
Well, if you just send it to the wetlands technician, she can send it to the entire commission.
Okay.
Or Eric. Eric Knapp can send it to the whole commission. So if you want to forward it to Eric and ask him for that information, that would be great.
I can do that.
Okay,
So I commend you for being forward thinking. I think you're right. I think some other reviews are in order. I've been thinking about inland wetlands for a while. That we're overdue probably for a review. But when you first sat down, you said you wanted the Board of Selectmen to run this through legal. So my question to you is, does the Conservation Commission have their own line item for legal?
The only reason I said that was because when I mentioned this to Martha back in 2 months ago, she had told me at that time that she had a legal helper that was going to be working for the town and that she would run it through them. That's the only reason I made that statement.
that was our policy intern, but policy intern, she doesn't have as much experience on writing a mission statement. But we usually, if we're going to do something where it's going to be published and it's going to have legal documentation like this does, we usually do run it through legal briefly. It's cost us about $150. And there are many commissions that don't have it, but land use does. And
Okay.
and
I'm just wondering where that's coming from.
it's just to make sure that we've dotted every I and crossed every
Absolutely.
T.
Unfortunately, the state of Connecticut does not have an auditor office that audits municipalities on things like this, which I think is unfortunate because when I was looking at various municipalities, equivalent mission statements, there was a lot of towns that got erroneous data that's in there or it's outdated and, you know, I'm not the one to go tell them, but
That's okay. We could probably hire you out for the other commissions, George, so that you could do the work for them.
I could do that.
I think that would be good.
I could do that.
All right, so I will put you on, move you to January. And it will be a simple vote. It won't be a presentation, and we'll talk between now and then, I'm sure.
And in the meantime, I will send these out to the planning, open space, land trust, wetlands, and zoning.
Thank you. I appreciate your due diligence.
You're welcome.
Thank you, both, all of you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
All right,
Merry Christmas to all.
Merry
thank you,
Christmas.
you too. This did not get, I don't think I forwarded this to you, but this is from Vicky. So every year Vicky has to, or she has to appoint sub-registrars. This is for cremation, burial, and death certificates, should something happen and she's not here. These people have the right to not file them, but take the applications and do the initial paperwork. So if Vicky was not, so she would like to appoint these people. And she's just running this by us. This will get included in the minutes just so that everyone can see. So does anyone have any questions? If not, I would love to have a motion to approve this for Vicky.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of sub-registrars by the town clerk.
Second.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of allowing our town clerk, Vicky Arbowitz, to make her appointment of sub-registrars, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. I think I sent this to you. Did I on Friday? Michelle sent it to me Friday before. All right, this is a list of the schedule for meetings. Basically, you'll notice that we are usually being held on Mondays at 5:30. The problem lies when we have a Monday holiday. It seems like our meetings always come on that week. So there are some months that are a little different, such as July, January, February, etc. And I think June too, because no, that June one we got through. So these are the meetings that we would like to approve for our schedule so that they can get these up on the website. If, of course, at any point in time, either of you have a scheduling conflict, we can always cancel and we can do a special meeting to be scheduled as needed.
Make a motion to approve the schedule of meetings as proposed for 2026.
I will second.
Any further discussion?
Do we have a schedule for the special budget meetings of January?
That's the next
The next
thing on
item.
the agenda
Okay.
for us to decide.
Okay.
To work through. Okay, so hearing no other comments on this particular document, I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor of approving our schedule of meetings for 2026, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion passes. Okay, so special meeting dates, I did not print them. They've normally been on Mondays because it works well for Selectmen Lampos. We usually meet for a number of hours. Anita and I have started our preliminary budget meetings today with departments from the town hall departments and public works and police. We will not meet preliminarily with fire department because they work during the day. So we usually call them in for a special meeting at night, one evening, because there are volunteers. And sometimes that also works for the Ambulance Association. So, if you look at our calendar, we have 3 Mondays in January where we can meet. We do invite the Board of Finance in to sit in because we changed the process and we did away with what they called specialist, because some specialists were taking their jobs very seriously and others were just saying, everything okay? And the budget came through. So we felt that there should be a little bit more of a review of it. I have asked that all departments keep things as tight as possible this year because we know that the debt service from the school system will be affecting our budget during this particular year. So we have the 6th, the 13th, and the 27th that are available to us.
So they're all gonna be on Tuesday.
6 would be
I'm-
Tuesday.
January, oh, I'm in the wrong January, I'm sorry. I don't know why it flipped back. Okay, January of 26. So, sorry, the 5th, the 12th, and the 26th.
So the 5th is a regular Board of Selectmen meeting. Would that be before or after? Or?
This would be before. Usually we have to try to do it during town hall hours.
Okay.
So, Jim, I would ask what your best timing is as far as starting on Mondays.
Well, I understand that you would want to start as early as possible. And since I usually get home very late, because Sunday night is my last work day, and I have to do all the reconciliations and
We want you to get your
schedules,
sleep.
et cetera, et cetera. So I do come home very, very early in the morning. So I would be open to whatever, I will make whatever meeting is necessary, but
12:30?
that's plenty of time for me. That'd be fantastic if you can do it at 12.
Okay, let's aim for 12:30 because a lot of departments will have problems with lunch schedules anyways.
So you said 5, 12, and
26.
26.
And we would start at 12:30. We will schedule them. Some departments only have 5 or 6 lines,
Mhm.
which is very simply to go through. We can move through very quickly as long as there are not a slew of questions. We're trying to build that 5 to 10-year plan too for capital, and that'll come into play with a few departments, but mostly facilities and police, fire department, where we're buying the bigger projects. Those are going to be the ones that are really going to develop that 5-year plan, 10-year plan. But every once in a while, there's a department that has something that they need something. And we have to put that into play as well. So I will schedule those meetings for the 5th, the 12th, and the 26th. Anita and I'll finish up the preliminary budget schedule this week, and then I'll put it out next week sometime. I'll put out these special meetings as to when they'll be, just to also make sure that no one's on vacation those week. I don't want to call for someone a department head who might be on a vacation week. So I'll check the ski schedules. Everybody good?
Good.
All right, so we don't really have to vote on that. We'll just move that through. And then the last item of business is to approve to sign the community connectivity grant for the Halls Road sidewalks. I just have to let them know by the 18th that we are accepting the $800,000 grant. And there's nothing that I have to sign. I just need to email them and let them know that we are taking it. But I do want your approval. I will also tell you that I'm putting together a presentation about Halls Road and where we stand financially with the walking bridge, the fishing pier, et cetera, and what's left in those accounts. And we're going to have some serious discussions in January as to where we go with those things, because those have been sort of motionless since the spring, well, early summer. except for one expense where we had done a spring flora evaluation of the river. And to do anything near the river, you have to have the spring and the fall. And if they're not done in the same year, then you have to start all over again. So I did approve that second flora study so that it would be complete and we would have both documentation.
And whatever resolution we have for sidewalks over the river, we're gonna be crossing the river, so that'll have to be done in any case, whether we cross it in Route 1 or not.
So I did meet with our town engineer. We're not going, the sidewalks over the actual Lieutenant River Bridge that is DOT owned would not be put in because they're going to do it in 5. They're gonna have a big play in that entire section that has the guardrail. So DOT has got to be involved.
Since it's
So-
a DOT grant, I assume they would drive this. I hope they would drive this.
They are going to drive part of it, yes. But we already have some preliminary plans that BSC did
Right.
for us.
That's the basis that I used for the application.
And so those are in. We've already gotten one business owner I knew it was Treasures, and I knew that they use that entire area because they have box trucks that come in for deliveries or pickups. So I knew that they were going to, so I did talk to Brett. And I said, what do you need? And he said, I need it to look he said, I've already thought about this and I want it to look exactly like La Fromage does over in Saybrook.
Okay.
So that has a sort of painted walkway across their parking lot, this entrance to their parking lot. So Aaron was gonna go look at that.
So are they saying like it would just be from end to end painted, or it would just be, would there be a throat to the driveway?
well, are you saying an entrance?
Yeah.
And a throat?
Yeah.
There will be no throat. It'll
Okay.
be as it is right now. And that is why it was left that way over in Saybrook, because all of those businesses in that area use that as a parking lot. There's also a type of thing that when you go in from so far, the DOT wants you to put in an island. And the island has to be so much depth from the street. And if you put an island in there's no way they can have a car park and back out and turn
Yeah,
around.
it's too close to the road.
Right.
What DOT wants to do in general, their overall mandate is to reduce curb cuts along their state roads. And to define driveways. So they don't want to see like in and out and stuff like that. They would avoid it along the state road. They want to see one entrance exit. And we had this issue in Soundview because there was some, that were built a long time ago, and there's a state right of way that maybe half of what they're using as their parking lot or front yard is a state right of way. And they were just paved from the front of the building right down to the state road. And there were a lot of issues we had to resolve with the property owners, included moving signs and included narrowing that down because there is danger to cross. That's a long stretch to cross, completely undefined. So I'm not saying I have the answer to that, but I'm saying DOT may have a solution that's not.
Well, it sounds like there was a solution in Saybrook, and if it's painted, then that it is delineated and defined. So I think we should take a look at that.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, I don't think we can have answers at this point that we can promise the property owner, but they'll be part of the process, obviously.
Well, first of all, you can put in the initial, this is what we want. And then if they come back and say, no, you can't, then we go back with round two.
It's more that the engineers come up with something and then I found in 2 sidewalk projects, 90% of your work is talking with property owners, and that's appropriate.
Right.
And that's what we will be doing.
Yes, we will.
Obviously working with each individual property owner based on what the engineers want and what the state wants, and then what they want, the property owner wants. what's practical. And there's a lot you can do, there's a lot you can massage, but I don't think we can provide promises up front. Is what I'm trying to say.
I didn't promise.
Yeah.
I said, what do you want?
Yeah.
We'll start with that and then
Yeah.
we move on.
Yeah.
So I wanted his input now because I did not, the original design had an entrance and an exit. Well, I mean, entrances that could have been used either way. But the thing that I noticed was that the Chestnut Mart's entrances were a good third to a half wider than what they had put in at the other, at Treasures. And I said, well, why can't they be this wide, as wide as that? Why would you do that? This was before I made the phone call. But certainly, Nathan Jacobson has worked with Saybrook, Westbrook, Clinton on all of their sidewalk projects. They're all doing Route 1. It's all straight down the highway.
No, state roads
So-
are challenging.
So
Yeah.
they've done this, and I think that we have to look at their thoughts initially,
Yeah.
and then we have to go out to our people and sit down with them and say, okay, this is what it looks like. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Um,
That's exactly, the process, you bring the preliminary designs to the property owner and they sit down, and they go, absolutely not. And somewhere in there, you figure it out.
So I just need a motion to approve to send an email accepting the community grant from one of you.
Is there any prerequisites that we need to come up with? I mean,
No, this
No.
is just basically, it says, I ask that you contact me no later than December 18th. I'm happy to give you both a copy of this. To confirm that your municipality wishes to accept the funding and proceed with the C connectivity grant process, and an email response is preferred. And if no response is received, your reward is reallocated. I would prefer not to have that happen. So basically 7 steps that are taken. They assign a project manager to us. They issue a commitment to fund. They'll perform an environmental screening to assess the municipality. And then we're responsible for developing a project design. Once they approve that, they authorize the municipality to advertise the project for construction bids. And after the bids, they submit a recommendation for award to the department, forwards for signature once they see it and make sure that it's good to go. Grant funds may only be used for construction, and construction phase costs above the allocated grant amount are the sole responsibility of the municipality. So basically, also in this package, we need to get a preliminary proposal from our Jacobson, and we're going to have to go to the Board of Finance and the town meeting, because I know it's going to be over $20,000, and ask for approval of those funds. So we will do that. But so we're far away. Actually, we're pretty far away from getting anybody's design at the moment. We need a proposal on cost first, and then from there. But if we don't have to put a sidewalk in there, that's a big stretch that we won't have to pay for a sidewalk.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to accept the $800,000 grant from state DOT for sidewalks on Halls Road.
second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those to approve to accept the community connectivity grant, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? None. Motion passes unanimously. We're going to do Selectmen general discussion. I do want you to know that it was a brief, I'm going to hand these out. The Ethics Commission also has some ordinance changes that they would like to have. There was a miscommunication between Lou, the chair, and myself. I thought he was going to let me know after he had spoken to legal. And he thought he was coming tonight. So somewhere I said, you can come, we'll add you to the agenda, but I didn't hear back from him. So he'll be in January, but if you would go through this, They have tried to, tighten up their ethics commission. So if you'll read this as homework, that would be great. And then you'll be ready with questions once they get here. It's a very, thorough document that they have drafted. Let's see. Anything else? I would
Yeah, I
say
know we have appointments coming up, so is there a list floating around about, that identifies the vacancies?
it was in my newsletter last week.
Okay,
Newsletter last week listed all the anticipated vacancies. That doesn't mean, those are up for renewals. We've had a few people resign over the, actually, Matt McKenzie passed in his resignation due to some, personal issues today. So he's going, conservation is going to need another person. Few people who are getting off or wanting to switch to another one. So the process, John, that we started when we did these appointments a couple of years ago is they apply through the appointment process. You and Jim will both get a packet of all the you get scanned documents of all the applications. So it'll say affordable housing, everybody behind it, it'll be all the people that have applied. And you'll get that before we start to do appointments in January.
oh yeah, no, I get that. I just wanted to
No,
know what's up because I've been known to recruit a few people now and again, so I'd rather recruit before the
It's also,
deadline.
if you go to, the town website, you can pull up vacancies pretty.
Right,
the only problem is it doesn't give you the vacancies for January 25th. Because that's when some of the appointments don't expire. So if you pull it up, it'll only give you the vacancies that are current. I don't think there's a date factor in there that you can say as of. But Katie pulled up the report she and Vicky worked on the vacancy list, and that's what we published. There's always something else that's gonna pop up.
Oh,
though.
sure. When should we start recruiting? Immediately?
I would say so.
Get applications in now.
Christmas Day. Let's get on it.
Second.
We've already gotten one. I think we got one from this weekend.
Second, since we approved the grant from DOT for Halls Road sidewalks, can we form a Halls Road sidewalk committee and begin populating it within this process?
We can. I think we should. I wanted to sort of formulate with you. That's why I wanted to do the presentation on Halls Road at the first meeting in January. Just to brief everybody. I know John has a somewhat knowledge of it, but this goes back pretty much. It's a very short. It's only like 14 slides. It's not too inclusive, but it just gives a rundown of what's transpired over the years. And then Anita will provide the updated funding of that availability. We still have AI Engineers has provided me with a statement of what we owe them. There's two ways. How much it will cost to move forward and how much it will cost to cut the project at this point and stop. And it was part of ARPA funding. So I do need you to realize that any money that was not spent from that, the ARPA committee, when they made those recommendations, said that any money not used would go into our social services budget. So whatever's left would be turned over to that. It's not like we can use it for another project because the ARPA rules were that it all had to be done by 2024. So once it was allocated, that's where it stays.
I think, and this is my sense, that we can proceed on two different tracks to, one, decide how to dispose of the legacy Halls Road project. And two, we have a model for these community connectivity grants. Soundview connectivity grant committee worked really well, and it was bipartisan. Consisted of property owners in the area, consisted of town residents at large. Both Tim and Mary Jo sat in. Mary Jo was ex officio, but Tim also monitored those meetings. And it was very successful. So I think it was a good model for how we should approach this grant. And it can proceed. Basically, this is a whole different track. I mean, we can decide what to do with the legacy project, and it doesn't seem like we can take funds from that and shift it over to this anyway. So I think we just need to proceed cleanly with the sidewalk project under this grant, the separate committee. So it doesn't get involved in that whole controversy. This is very straightforward. It seems to be what everybody wants. And it's funded. So, I would like to see those two diverge.
I would agree with that concept.
I would as well. I would like to, and I would assume that I don't think the town meeting is going to turn down the funding for the engineering phase of this, but I would like to at least get that sort of into a package and then establish the Halls Road. I'm a little tentative to call it Halls Road sidewalks. I'd love to come up with a name.
Well, it is
But
Halls Road
I
sidewalks.
know, it is Halls Road sidewalk.
You want to call
Keep it simple.
You want to call it the Route 1 Community Connectivity Grant. Okay.
Well, yeah,
But
I know.
there's no use mincing words. I mean,
Okay,
we've said-
it's the
we've said-
Halls Road Sidewalk Committee because it's short term. It's a project. So let's look at that it's not on our agenda. So we would have to do that January 5th
Right.
to establish it. And then we can ask, but you can certainly still discuss with people if they're interested. And then they just won't put their applications until after January 5th.
Yeah, I've had a business owner from Halls Road contact me and was very excited about getting on that committee. So I just wanted to know when we could begin the process.
And let me ask you a question. Are these because I have no problems with business owners who don't live here being on this committee because they are part of our community, but we'll have to put that also in the parameters of the choices that it won't just be property owners here in town,
I think,
because they're not all property owners, because some of them
no,
rent.
they're not all property owners, but I think I think there's enough overlap that we can have representation.
So then we'll have to, start to think too of what how many people are we going to have on this committee? Start to think about those parameters in your mind of what we're going to allow. Are we going to allow, 6 businesses, 4 businesses? How are we going to represent? And like when I think of like the Hideaway Plaza, okay, there's a number of businesses in there. I don't think that the property owners are going to want to be on this committee. But I think that we need to have representation from someone in that marketplace.
Mhm.
So hopefully somebody would volunteer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get a flood of applications. I mean, we could probably, see how many applications we get and then decide how many seats we want.
Right. So, but we have to put it out there. I mean, I'm more than happy to go talk to each one of them and just say, right down the street and say, we're here and we have a property. I know we have one property owner too. We have a house on Halls Road. So that person may be interested in serving as well and seeing what we do. But as the original thing, just so that I think I told you this, but they cautioned us about doing too much over the Lieutenant River because their initial thought was, when I met with these 12 engineers from DOT, that they may widen that bit.
It would be an ideal situation for me if we could build sidewalks and not include the Lieutenant River. Because that's an environmental nightmare, B, a logistical nightmare. I mean, that's the reason why the whole pedestrian bridge came up in the first place.
Right.
So if DOT is saying, hey, in 5 years, we're going to take care of this bridge anyway, it's like bonus. That means we get more sidewalk on Halls Road.
Yes.
So if we could get DOT to agree, because generally when you do these projects, if you touch anything, they make you bring it all up to code. So if they could let us stop short of that bridge and pick up again after that bridge, that would save us so much money. We can do so much more work on Halls Road.
Yep.
And then they can deal with the river, which, it's fine by me.
That's there are, Jacobson's didn't indicate there's 1 or 2 culverts there
Right.
that we are going to have to shore up. And possibly put some type of, a retaining wall in. So that'll have to be something that we'll have to consider as we move through, but I agree, because DOT said if they widen it, they're going to give us a guardrail from the walkway, we'll have a pedestrian rail on it.
Mhm.
A way to keep them safe from the traffic, and if we can keep the kids on that side of the pedestrian, will be great. But I would also hope that this would encourage them to maybe think about doing it sooner than later.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
I don't really want them mucking up the sidewalks after we put
I
them
mean,
in.
just, talking with people in DOT, this is the kind of project that's really a priority for them. Connecting schools to commercial area, kids going from school to their jobs, kids going from school to hang out at Dunkin' Donuts or whatever. They really prioritize that. So, I think that they should be very cooperative with this project to
I
help
think,
us get around some of, because it's tough. It's a tough geography in there. It's been so messed with by 95 and the Lieutenant River and some tributaries going through there. The drainage is very complicated. And it kind of gives me the willies just thinking about some of the things that are going on in there. Taking the Lieutenant River out is phenomenal, but there's still a lot of stuff that's not obvious going through there because it was wetlands and it was so messed with when 95 came through, or the Blue Star Highway, but it's actually pre-95. That's from the 40s. So
I think too that one of, I lost my train of thought. Forget it. I'll come back to it. It'll come back to me.
and let me, since we're in comment, let me just switch really quickly. I was wondering if you could get from Eric Knapp or somebody in land use determination on what John brought up last week with the clear cutting at Flat Rock. There's a lot of people have come up to,
He hasn't,
So it was inspected by a state forester as well as Eric, and they found no violations. So most forestry and lumbering is statute exempt, and it is what it is.
yeah, it's kind of my impression because of the storage unit lot that was clear cut. The determination there was private property, they can do pretty much what they want. So
it's funny because in another town or two, I know that I have had friends who have built houses. And when they went to their lot on a weekend to work, they were given citations because they did not have any type of documentation saying they could clear cut.
well, it's
So clear cutting is not the same as selective forestry. So, I mean, people might look at that lot and go, this doesn't look very selective, but everything is not cut. The wetlands area where they were inspected by the state forester and by Eric, and they noted no damage. So they're pretty much staying clear of those. And it's kind of like oil is king. I mean, back in the day, forestry was probably king, and that probably contributes to their, exemption by statute. I would guess. I haven't looked too hard at the history, but that's kind of still the way it is. So they're not clear cutting. They're not cutting per se for a lot, although they are going to build a house there. So, if they just came in and said, oh, we want to cut because we're putting in a house as opposed to we're doing selective forestry, Eric would be the one to ask, but that could have put it in a different light. And that's, like what you're talking about. Your friends went and did stuff and
I'm not saying they were clear
Right.
cutting. That wasn't my implication. It's just that we don't have any clear statute.
no, I'm not
on
saying
it.
they aren't either, but I'm saying there's
Right.
well,
there's
you
a
start
difference.
when you have a plan, you start triggering reviews. So if you're building a house, you submit a site plan.
Fine.
And at that point, that's when zoning can say, oh, by the way, you got to do X, Y, and Z, and you get into the realm of zoning and land use.
How many trees you're leaving?
If you don't have a building plan and you're not looking for a zoning exemption, my sense is, or at least the way it played out on the storage unit lot, and I've seen other lots, my sense is if you're not triggering that, you have the right to take down trees as much as you want. So. And it's only when you submit a site plan for a house, what have you, that's when they can put their thumb and down and say, you know, keep that tree. Like forsythias here, et cetera, et cetera.
You know, I remembered what I was gonna say about the bridge and the fishing pier. I did have a conversation with Jamie Zadoriak, who is the person who signed off the deed to, or was the person responsible for making the deed for the land on Falls Road was turned over by the state to us with the caveat that there would be a fishing pier built. So she emailed me about a month ago and said, so how are things going with the plan? And I said, nothing's happening. And I said, because we had no money in our budget for a fishing pier. I said, it wasn't on our radar. I said, you added it to this deed that we would provide recreational facilities for fishing. I have spoken to many fishermen lately who have said, don't really think we need a pier there. We like the way it is. We like just, one guy said he just likes standing he likes standing underneath the bridge. He goes, I like the hum. He goes, it's just, you know, it's just soothing. And he said, and I've also heard that the stripers are coming back. The baby stripers are appearing and they're about this big. And they said, you start doing any type of construction with a fishing pier in those waters, those fish are going to disappear again. They'd like to see the stripers return. I'm not a fisherman. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was legitimate criticism from people who were against the Halls Road project. What began as, hey, why don't we just reconstruct the old Bow Bridge between the two existing abutments, became, you know, now it's a parking lot, now it's a fishing pier. Now, you know, everyone just started piling in, and it's like, all right, you know, let's get a Ferris wheel too. You know, it just got to be a zoo. So
Don't mention that. That's lined up in the newspaper tomorrow. We're not putting in a fish. We are not putting in a Ferris wheel.
Being facetious. Joke bit.
So I just want you to know that's where we are. And I just said to her, I said, I don't have funding available for this at this point in time. And until we decide how we're going to proceed, I said, you may, in years later, you may see a fishing pier someday, but it may not, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So that's where.
So there was no deadline attached to it.
No, just that if we decided to use that for a walking bridge, that the fishing pier
Yeah,
had to be
triggered the
created.
fishing pier.
Yep. So it had to go together. Okay, anything else? I hope you both have a wonderful Christmas season and a happy new year. And please remember to vote tomorrow if you haven't already.
I have not, but I will be there.
Okay,
I will make a motion to adjourn.
thank
I
you.
will second.
At 6:29.